him, sleep near him, walk with him, be with him. Every day. I wanna be lovers and friends and mother his children. Make breakfast on Sunday and fight and then make up again. Cause if life's gonna be crazy anyway, I wanna do it with him. Steady love. Hey. Ooh. Steady love. He's a good father. He's a good cook. He loves his basketball and he loves a good book. I'll tell you how I know he's the perfect one for me. Cause he's a warrior in the streets, but he's a king in the sheets. He's giving me love so steady. He touches my heart, now I'm ready. He touches my soul and my spirit. He's giving me love so steady.
That's India Ari with Steady Love. I gotta say, that's her latest song. I'm feeling it. It's a vibe. Like, I want to clean my house to that and then like dance with Bay a little bit, you know? It's a good one. You're in the lounge on WURD Radio 96.1 FM 900 AM. I'm your host, sincerely, Sarita. Prior to break, we did a deep dive regarding the hearings on reparations. And you all know, like, I like to do my whole little social thing and whatnot. So I did put a poll out over on Instagram and asked folks, reparations or not. You for it or you against it? 75% of folks polled, let me update that, 77% of folks polled said yes, 23% said no. And then I asked for some feedback on the hearing. You know, what do folks think? Elijah said a waste of time and money. Yafit said, I believe there should be some. So he believes there should be some kind of reparations. And then, he also added, and we should be able to set the price of what we want or need to be paid. That would definitely be interesting. So yeah, that's some of the feedback over on IG. Shout out to all the folks who always engage with us and join the discussion on air, offline. We appreciate you. What else? What else? I got to make sure I run past y'all. Oh, the question of the day. What's a black-owned business that you recommend folks supporting? So shout out to Shannon Big Exclusive Reynolds. I posted that question over on Facebook, and he just like went ham with listing all of these different black-owned businesses and brands and dropping links, like Forever Flowers and Designs. Who else did he drop? There's... Ooh, he dropped motivational speakers, armed and unarmed security company. Kiana Montgomery, she said, Ite. I don't know if is it Ite? E-T-A-E? Okay, Ite. And then Dolly's Boutique, Credit Medics, quite a few. So I'm just trying to shout some out in case any stick out to you. You may want to support them. Shout out to Uncle Bobby's Coffee and Books. Yep, Will Mega, definitely see that. So yeah, let us know. I mean, shout yourself out. If you have a black-owned business, it's an opportunity for a shameless plug. Now, about folks shouting people out, we're not putting our stamp on them. I mean, we ain't been there. We ain't putting our stamp on them. We're just giving you a platform, to do that. So, question of the day, what's a black-owned business that you recommend folks supporting? Call in, let us know, 215-634-8065, toll-free 866-361-0900. But it is now time for me to welcome my first guest of the evening to the show. We're going to dive into this good conversation. Joining me in the studio, I have Kiana Daniels and Kendra Kennedy. They are co-founders of the organization Non-Tradish. They're here to chat with Hania Sharp Brown and I about the non-traditional student experience in higher education. So ladies, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have y'all here. Okay, so I told folks a little bit about who y'all are and some of what y'all do, but let's go down the line and let folks know who you are, what you do. We'll start with Kiana.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Kiana. I'm also known as Yanni. So if you see me on Instagram posting that says Yan BSW, that's me. I'm a non-traditional student. Just graduated from Westchester University.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was the commencement speaker there, selected amongst my peers. Trying to really just push and support for non-traditional students to get resources on college campuses. So that's really what I'm doing. I'm also an MSW student, and I work for the Department of Human Services. So that's it about me.
All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kendra Kennedy. I'm currently attending Harcum College as a fashion design and fashion merchandising major. Right now, I'm just currently hoping that non-tradish just inspires someone out there other than me and my sister. And that's really just what I'm working on right now. I'm also currently interning for C. Bailey. She is a wedding planner and event coordinator. And I'm just basically not putting myself in a box, you know?
No,
just
that's
doing
right.
everything that I can.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's me.
Hey everybody, Hania Sharp Brown here, On Point Communications. Super excited to be here to discuss something that is so super personal to myself and Sarita, and to see what you ladies are doing is super dope.
So dope. And my name is Sarita Martin. All right, so first of all, what is a non-traditional student, right? I don't, and you all can chime in on this, I don't think it's a term that is widely, or I'll say generally, used on a day-to-day basis. Like, I remember when I was at Temple, the time, like the moment that I learned I was a non-traditional student. I didn't even know that I was a non-traditional student because I had a child that made me a non-traditional student. Did you all know that you were non-traditional students going into
I mean, for
college?
me, it was made very, I was aware. So I was in a class full of 18 and 20-year-olds. And so we kind of all knew, like, oh, she's the odd one out, Forget the fact of my different intersecting identities. It was, oh, okay, we know she's older because every time the professor asks a question, she got her hand raised. So I know they were sitting there, like, at the beginning, like, she thinks she know everything. And I'm like, no, it's just life experiences. I'm not, I'm just trying to add to the conversation.
Just seeing some things. Just seeing some things.
Right.
Got you. What about you?
Nah, I definitely was aware. I don't know if I was aware that it was a term that was being used across, multiple kind of places until we started doing our research. But I mean, I can remember bringing my son to class. So, while I'm having a conversation trying to figure out who's going to keep him, I'm having another conversation with a student who's mad because their mom ain't put no money in their account or something. So, and I'm just like, I can't even relate. I mean,
we got like real bills.
Right, I got bills.
Like, that kind of conversation is above me.
Right,
now.
right.
Yeah, it's above me now. Okay, so loves, non-traditional students, there are a few different categories, right? There are those who are student parents. There are veterans. There are those who are returning to school after some kind of, returning to higher education after some kind of hiatus, usually to work or, just due to financial difficulties, whatever else the case may be. And then you have those who are adults who have had full careers and they're going back to school, to advance their education and whatnot. So that's just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page about what a non-traditional student actually is. And just to give you all some stats on where our nation stands with non-traditional students, according to the National Center for Education Statistics, over the next 6 years, the number of people 35 and older who enroll in college will grow by 20%. And that's compared to 13% for the traditional 18 to 24-year-old set. And then today, across all age groups, roughly 1/3 of students are taking at least one distance education course or continuing education course, something of that sort. So, and in short, non-traditional students is out here. They're everywhere, okay? If you know someone who, is at work or out of work and they're like, I'm just going to go back to school, whatever else the case may be, they're falling in that category of veteran. Like I said, those folks who are going to school. So I want to get into our non-traditional experience. And not just that, the why behind the passion for non-traditional students. So, Kiana, you spoke a bit about your experience as a non-traditional student. Can you paint a fuller picture of like your decision to go to college, where you were at in your point at that point in your life, and all of the factors that contributed to you being a non-traditional student.
So originally, when I started to try to go back to school, I had been at Shippensburg University in 2006, and due to a lot of financial issues, I had to wind up returning home. And I always knew that gaining my educational career and being a part of that life was something that I wanted to continue, and it just didn't happen as fast as I wanted to. So I went on and I did hair for about 7 years in the salons, different salons. I went to cosmetology school, and I still was finding myself doing the same work, not just doing hair, trying to counsel people, trying to talk with people, trying to find resources while people were sitting in a chair getting their hair done. And I knew I wanted to serve people beyond that capacity, right? And so I went back to school. Originally, I went to Delaware County. I stayed there for a year and a half, transferred and went to Westchester. And then the opportunity just presented itself where, they actually catered to the fact that I was a non-traditional student. In the beginning, I wasn't aware that I had to email my professors and say, hey, listen, I have 2 children. I live in Philadelphia. I have to travel to get here. So some days I'm going to be late, right? Now, none of my assignments were late, but I was continuously late to class, and I didn't understand that I had to have that conversation beforehand. And it wasn't until after receiving a C, like a very low C in the class, that I was like, wait a minute, come on now. Something has to give. And I don't think that the professor knew my situation, and I didn't think that I needed to tell him. And it wasn't until the last day of class when I had to take a final, and I'm saying to him, my son is sick, I'm not able to do this X, Y, and Z. And he's like, well, I didn't know you had children before all of this. Is the end of the semester now, and now you're saying that you have children, right? And so I thought that I was going to be penalized from even that point on. And so I wound up bringing my son to that class so that I can take the final. And from then on, I said, you know what, every class that I take from now on, I'm emailing the professor, I'm letting them know who I am, I'm letting them know my circumstances, I let them know from the door, I'm going to be on time, and if I can't come, I will send you an email, I will communicate, I will correspond with you, and while I'm in that class, I will show you who I really am. And so that's how that started. Westchester really just fostered this love for me amongst students who were non-traditional students. So while I was there, myself and 3 other young ladies created an organization entitled Super Moms. And so we all were mothers. We all saw that there was a need on campus for additional resources for us. And the campus took to us. They embraced us. They assisted us. They would give us gas cards. They would do lunches for us. They provided us with coffee makers, so when we do programs, we had babysitting there. And so it really, the campus really worked with us. But the problem is not everybody is a parent, right? And so just because you're a non-traditional student doesn't mean you're a parent.
Right.
You could be someone who's, like my sister, took a couple years off and decided to go back. And so if I'm going to school at night, or if I'm going to school really early, I may miss some of those resources that's happening on campus throughout the day. And so that's part of why I wanted to create non-traditional, to have that community amongst Black and brown women, because I didn't have that. We were very diverse in Super Moms, right? And so sometimes I felt left out because some of them live closer than I did. I live in Philly. Everybody else lives near Westchester. But I really just wanted to foster that sense of community in the Black and brown community because we need it, and it's necessary.
Yeah. And oftentimes commuters are looked at as non-traditional students as well.
Absolutely.
And they don't usually know that they're a non-traditional student. They just know they're taking non-traditional means to get to school.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Really quick question, because Westchester is a PWI, predominantly white institution.
Yes.
And the fact that you all were able to achieve like diversity within Super Moms, what do you feel like played a part in that?
One of the things, and I will be very honest with you, we were kind of secluded because we were all social work majors, right?
Oh, okay.
So in our major, we're taught to embrace diversity, to bring it in, everybody is on the same page, right? Or try to get people to the same page. And so they were very much for creating Super Moms, and still to this day are trying to find folks that are willing to take that on since we have all graduated. So outside of that community, I don't know that was the same experience for other non-traditional students. Right. And so that is why non-traditional was created. We plan on doing consultancy work with universities so that they can have programs and opportunities for these non-traditional students, because people don't understand the need that black women face, brown women face, going back to school with all of these different intersections that they face. And so I think it's important that they have a voice and an outlet, which is going to be non-tradition. So we just going to make it happen.
You want to chime in?
You know, I'm thinking back to when we were at Temple and started our organization. So all of this stuff is just like, yes.
Yes.
And
the queen.
I think we had a diverse audience. And I can remember, I don't know if you remember this, when we were looking for an advisor, because we had to have an advisor for the organization.
Absolutely.
And this person's going to remain nameless. But and listening and reading the mission as to why it's so important for this to be focused on women of color. I went to this woman, you know, introduce who our
faculty member,
our people were on the board. This was a faculty member. This was an African American woman. And when I told her about the need for us to have this on campus, her response to me was, "Well, y'all just look like a bunch of baby mamas trying to start an organization."
Girl. Okay.
Lie to you not.
This is what this woman said to my face.
So let me just say this to you, that I had a client. This is what prompted me to go so hard at Westchester the way that I did. Not just from being a commencement speaker, right? Not just from getting good grades and having a high GPA and being a part of every organization that I could be a part of, right? And still trying to be a mom and a fiance and a sister and a mentor and a mentee, right? I had a client say to me, "What, ain't nobody tell you to have them kids and try to go back to school and do hair too?"
But you know what they did?
Girl, put that fire right up under this tail. You hear me?
The fuel. And when I tell you, just as Westchester embraced you all, when we were able to really bring to the university and bring to the president of the university and other faculty members that we did the research.
Yes.
We did the work.
Oh, Lord,
we did a lot of research.
Yeah.
And they embraced it. And they supported us. We hosted the first non-traditional student week on campus ever.
Wow, that's
So, but when you talked about like the black women, I was like, yo.
Yeah. And I mean, it was all the diversity that we had with Temple Non-Traditional Student Union. We service all non-traditional students, right? So we had mothers in there, we had veterans in there, we had fathers in there. I mean, like,
that's amazing.
Pretty much every aspect of non-traditional students were represented in our group, and that was great. But it also, I feel like for us, it challenged us to think about the bigger picture. How do we create programming that hits so many different points? And that's where Non-Traditional Student Week was so impactful, because we had a full week of events, panels, all kinds of stuff that we had happen, and we were able to do something for veterans. We were able to do something for student parents. And I think for me, being a non-traditional student who was a student parent was a very different experience. And I mean, I haven't experienced being any other kind of non-traditional student, but Temple was very supportive of our efforts to serve the non-traditional students community. Student parents, I feel like, was a little different.
Yes.
That was a little different. And the research that we did, and even the research I had to do before I went to Temple, it was hard to find colleges, universities who offered family housing, who offered daycare on campus, or even in a vicinity, who had some kind of financial aid package that could possibly cover those things or offset costs. And so I started looking around, and I'm like, so I would have to go to like Vermont or go out Midwest, like
or to a community college,
right? Because that's where when we were doing our research, anytime you looked in the Midwest, they had centers specifically dedicated,
whole housing development,
absolutely,
right? And Temple, if you go on Temple's their website, and I haven't been on there lately, but I know when I went looking, because I was trying to see, is there a college, like I always wanted to go to Temple, but I'm looking like, are there any colleges in the area where I can go to school and live on campus with my daughter? My thing was, yes, I was a teen mom, I'm still going to college, and my daughter is coming with me. I need to find someplace where we both can go. I found out that Temple had a family housing program by word of mouth, and that was nothing but the grace of God. It's not on the website. It's not even really discussed on camp. Like you gotta be very clear
so let me
about
tell
what
you,
need.
Westchester had a daycare on campus. they closed the daycare because they said
Temple
that
used
it
to,
wasn't.
too.
They
Yep.
said it was not being utilized. And so once Supermoms got up and running and everything, we asked about that. We rallied for that. We advocated for that, and they're still saying to this day that not that it's not a need, right? But that's not what we're discussing right now. What they're discussing on Westchester campus right now for parents is the accessibility for parents to be able to change their children in the different bathrooms and to have those
the folding,
the fold down,
the change,
the changing tables,
yeah.
right? That's what they're advocating for. And I'm in my mind, I'm saying that's nice. That's
don't really
great,
need that.
right? But we actually need some tangible solutions, right, for
Yeah.
these parents that are coming on these campuses. Now, if we can just let Kendra speak for one moment, that Harcum does have a daycare on campus. And I found out about Harcum maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right? And when I heard they had a daycare on campus, I was like, wow, that's awesome. But what other services do they have? Because if you just have a daycare, okay, so after I take my son or daughter to daycare, then what are we supposed to do?
Gotcha. Well, what we got to do right now is take a quick break.
Yes.
But we'll come back on the other side and definitely pick up with Kendra and your non-traditional student experience. And also, just keep this discussion going. And I just want to make it clear, we're not bashing these universities, right? Like,
Absolutely not.
the education that I got at Temple, I got my owl right here, dog. Like, I'm teaching you all day,
I got
right?
my Temple tip on my
But what I also believe is that having gone through that higher education system, right, which the powers that be at each of these institutions, they have a say in what the experience is like for students. And as students who pay, we have a say in what our needs are.
Absolutely.
And so when we're saying, hey, there is a lack of need, and we're not just complaining. We're saying, here's the ideas, here's an organization that
Here's the
here's the research, here's the
Absolutely.
receipts, right? Like, and all we're hearing back is, oh, well, one thing or another. That's disheartening. And it lights fire, which it did, and it produces, some kind of results, but it doesn't fix the issue.
Right.
It doesn't bridge the gap, right? And all throughout, I think with all of us, our experiences, it's all about thinking about the folks who are coming up behind you,
Right.
right? And that's why we're having this conversation, because there are non-traditional students out there right now who are trying to navigate being at an institution, a higher education institution, who may not be providing or have a full range of services that they need, but yet they're paying that tuition, right? And if they don't pay that tuition, they're out.
Right.
So they're paying into a system that is not fully serving them.
Right.
So that's why this conversation is important. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. If you want to see the full panel, you can go over to Facebook, right? Because we're Facebook and Live on onWURD TV, on YouTube and on Periscope. So shout out to all the folks who are tuned in. We appreciate you. But all right, taking this break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Listen to Word Radio on the go with the Word Radio app. Search for WURD in your favorite app store today and take us with you wherever you go. Stay connected to Word Radio, independent Black media.
Hello, I'm Keena Sears Brown, Director at Drexel University's Goodwin College of Professional Studies, where we know that ambition can't wait and learning never stops. In today's ever-changing job market, you will need to gain new skills to stay competitive. That's why we offer in-demand, industry-recognized courses, certifications, workshops, and networking opportunities to keep you connected. Skilled, confident you. Develop your career learning path at drexel.edu/Goodwin/CPE.
This is Word Radio, independent Black media. Discover the Barnes, an art experience like no other. The Barnes collection hangs masterpieces like Van Gogh, Matisse, Renoir, and Picasso next to everyday objects, revealing unexpected connections across diverse cultures. From tours and classes to family programs and art after hours with cocktails and performances, there's something for everyone. Tickets at barnesfoundation.org. The Barnes. After a visit, you'll never stop seeing The Barnes.
Word family, is me, Solomon Jones, host of Wake Up with Word, and I want to see you on June 28th at the Wellness and Food Festival at the Fresh Grocer, 4160 Monument Road. It's going to be a blast. All of us are going to be out there. We want to see you, talk to you, and I'm going to have some of my books as well. So join us right there at 4160 Monument Road for the Wellness and Food Festival. And please, whatever you do, make sure you join the 4Word movement today and get your membership or renew between now on June 28th to take advantage of our $75 early bird special. We'll see you on June 28th at the Wellness and Food Festival. Be there.
It's Lights on Chester this Friday, June 21st at the MJ Free Theater in Chester, Pennsylvania. Join the festivities for a free arts and cultural festival celebrating the past, present, and future of Overtown. Be there to watch the entire Illuminate Chester film series and enjoy the complimentary hors d'oeuvres, entertainment, and networking with local business owners. The street celebration begins at 6 p.m. and the film screening begins at 7 p.m. RSVP today at pahumanities.org/lightsonchester.
Word TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at forward. Word TV. Black Talk Media. The Lounge with Sincerely Sarita. Sincerely Sarita. Right now on Word Radio.
And we're back in the lounge, WRD Radio. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita, and I am joined with, this is Women Crush Wednesday in the lounge, y'all. And so I'm joined with some amazing women, Kiana Daniels and Kendra Kennedy. They are co-founders of the organization Non-Tradish. They're here along with Hania Sharp Brown and I to talk about the non-traditional student experience in higher education. This has already been a good conversation. We getting into these experiences and into just, you know, being a non-traditional student who is paying for an education, right, and paying for an experience, and not fully being serviced and having to navigate that institution, that higher education system, in spite of, right? So, Kendra, let's pick back up with you. I know for the most part, I think all of us, Kiana, Hania, myself, were parents by the time we were going to college. Yep. But your non-traditional student experience is a little different. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So I am not a parent, but I am a non-traditional student. Okay, where do I start? I remember taking off 2 semesters, I want to say. 2 years. I wasn't in school. I graduated in 2015, and I took off 2016 to 2017, and I was working. It wasn't until my sister, Kiana, thank God I had her, who really vouched and pushed for me to get back in school. She's like, okay, Kendra, let's go. It's time to go. So I got back in school, and then I remember it was the spring semester of 2018, and it was really, really hard for me. And although I look young, I'm 22, but I look like I'm 18, and I look like I just freshly got out. No, I don't mean to say young, but it looked like I just got out of high school and then straight to college. But that wasn't the issue. That wasn't the case at all. So I remember being in class and just really overwhelmed because I don't know. I took that time off, and then just being in there with everybody, and then with the professors and everything that they asked of us, I felt like, I don't know, I didn't feel like I had a voice, really, and I was scared to ask questions, maybe because I took that time off and I was just scared. I didn't know. Right. So I remember having a breakdown because everything that they had me in advanced classes because it was the spring semester and everything. I wasn't there the fall semester. So when I got to the spring semester, they put me in like advanced classes, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then I was scared to ask questions. So it wasn't until I had that breakdown, and then my teachers talked to me, and they were trying to be really helpful as far as what I needed, because I was just overwhelmed with the work and the students, and I was seeing their progress, and I'm like, I need to slow down a little bit. I don't know. I just really, I'm happy that I'm here so that, you know, we could create this platform for people who, like me, was scared to speak and are overwhelmed in the classroom because they took some time off and they decided to work because of financial situations. And not only that, there's a lot of students like me who in high school or in middle school, they didn't have teachers or people who told them or really instilled in them, like, college, you should go to college and you should, you know, pursue your dreams and really put that out there for me. So that's a really big thing that I want to get across too, because I don't feel like I had people or teachers that really, you know, said, go to college, do this, do that. And because thank God I had my sister who was like, no, Kendra, you're gonna go to school. Like, I'm in school.
She pulled that big sister card.
Did, she did the financial aid. I didn't know nothing about financial aid. I didn't know how to do that. She helped me with that, and thank God I had her, because I don't know where I would be, because
I'm glad you brought up financial aid, because I think even navigating the financial aid system as a non-traditional student, that in itself is difficult. A whole beast. I remember as a student parent, right now, mind you, pregnant at 16, had my daughter at 17, graduated a year early, took a year, which would have been my senior year in high school, took that year, worked three jobs, and that was when I found out that at Temple, if you have a child, they would give you an apartment on campus, right? So I'll go to apply, get in, find out about the apartment process, do that, get my apartment, but taking a few steps back, trying to figure out that financial aid.
Yeah.
Because technically I'm still, or I thought in my head, I'm still a dependent. So my parents.
Right. Yeah.
No.
That's not the case.
You got a baby, so you're independent. Right. So I was able to apply for financial aid on my own, which in a lot of ways did work for me, because both of my parents made pretty decent money. Right. And so that would have been a lot for them. Right. And that was just something that after my first year, they both were like, listen, this is about as far as we, can get you right now. Right. And so that's when I actually dropped out after my first year of college and moved back to Pittsburgh, because I found out that if you lived in the state for a year, you qualified as an in-state resident. Absolutely. Because I graduated from high school in Delaware, I was paying out-of-state tuition. So I'm paying more. Right. So I'm like, okay, I have to leave school. I got to drop out of school so that I can actually afford school.
That's crazy, right?
So,
Or you got to work while you in school to get a degree.
Exactly. Which I was working while I was in school. But just navigating all of that, and at the same time, not only trying to navigate the financial aid system in the school, but also having to navigate welfare system. Because I'm a young mom, you know what I mean? I'm in school working full time, so, and I'm in a city with no family at that point. So now I'm like, daycare, trying to work full-time job. This is, I need some support. So that was just such, you remember how stressed I just used to be on a daily basis. It was bad.
Well,
it was bad,
you were stressed, but we was definitely, I can tell you, just like in the office of financial aid on a regular. Because number one, people tell you anything over the phone. And it really got to the point where it's like, listen, this is not a one-size-shoe-fits-all type situation. I'm not asking you to make no exceptions. I'm just asking you to help me understand what my options are. Right. Because my options ain't the same as everybody else, a traditional student. You know what I mean? And so that was definitely always frustrating, on top of whatever other financial woes you got going on.
Right. And we got those questions in the organization too, when we, members that were like, I'm trying to figure this out. I'm a vet, or I'm, whatever.
So one of the things that we've noticed, and the research will tell you, there are several barriers to when non-traditional students go to file their financial aid, right? And then you have older adults, right, who've worked their lives, right, and they're switching their careers, and they have no idea about financial aid. There's no financial aid workshops, or you got to pay to go to the workshop. How am I going to pay $35 or $45 to go to a financial aid workshop
to figure out how to pay for school?
To figure out how to pay for school. Obviously. So there's a disconnect, right? Yeah. And so that's one of the things that we want to try to do. Not just the barrier with the financial aid workshops, but also the books. People don't talk about the books. After you've got your financial aid situated with your bill and everything, you got a $700 book bill. Some of those books their money needs to be flown in through the tuition. Like, we can't keep doing this to folks, right? And so that's one of the things, right? Yeah. And so that's one of the things. One of our main goals at non-tradition is to provide 3 $250 book scholarships for non-traditional students who are women of color. And we're trying to implement that in September so that folks can get their stuff when school starts. Because school starts August 27th for folks.
Gotcha.
I mean, what I think is important is the void that you're filling, right? So it's like, we know it's a need at the universities. We knew it was a need when we were at Temple. But also stepping up to say, like, listen, I know it's a need. I'm doing a research, and just asking the school to be a partner, in that process. Because sometimes, I know a lot of research that we were doing, a lot of folks just didn't even know what they didn't know. Yeah. Like, we didn't know what we didn't know. Yeah. They didn't know that there was a large population of students who had these different unique needs. Yeah, they knew that it was students that were taking night classes, but thinking thinking it from the perspective of, there are some different things that non-traditional students need. I think it's just really important for what you guys are doing.
And it's funny because the more we did our research, not even on non-traditional students, but just on Temple, right? Because
oh yes,
let me tell you how this whole part of how all of this started. I was in student family housing, and we end up getting a letter, all of the family housing folks, that they're ending housing, like basically immediately. So I go into survivor mode. I have 2 children. Y'all shut down family housing. I'm homeless. Me and my children are homeless.
Right.
That ain't happening. So I put up a petition online. I think it garnered like over close to like 1,000 signatures in a week. Got the attention of the then president, who contacted the housing director and said, basically, I need you to get her to take that down. So he calls me from Chicago, and he's like, hey, this is so-and-so. Mind you, my heart goes, oh, snap. It's real. It's real. Right? I'm thinking of like every legal show I've seen, like, okay, I need to have my list of demands, right? So he's like, listen, we got wind of the petition, and definitely want to sit down and discuss, and wondering if you can take that petition down, so that we can chat. And I was like, petition ain't coming down until this is reversed, until housing is secure for all student parents, like everybody in family housing. So fast forward, they did end up keeping family housing in place, at least at that point, and I think they still do have it in place now. But he was the one who, once I met with him, and he really did start trying to work with me, and he said, listen, what you need to do is gain some power on campus. You need to start a student organization. You start a student organization, you'll get funding from the school, you'll be able to secure different space on campus, you'll have more leverage. So that's when I was like, all right, I got to start a student organization. How you start a student organization? Hania had wrote
an article. I had wrote an article for the Temple News about being a non-traditional student, because all my classes were at Center City campus. So I would be so frustrated because I worked during the day and I took classes at night, and I would walk through the halls and see like flyers for different school events. I'm like, dang, I'm trying to be involved. I want to do some extracurricular stuff.
Like, I got kids, but they can come too.
But then I was like, okay, so I don't know what to do. So it started off in my head like, what if I start something at the Center City campus, because that's where a lot of the adult population was. But then the article ended up turning into just like what my experience was, being frustrated about the process. And here I get this call, or it was an email actually. I think I might still have that email.
Oh my God.
I get an email.
I'm just flipping through the newspaper.
Sarita Martin. She's like, Ms. Sharp, I read your article and you seem like an expert. And I'm looking at, he wasn't my husband. I'm like, well, she think I'm an expert. Because this is all new to me too. And I remember, we started communicating back and forth, and I think it was you that introduced me to Mommy Grads.
Jamie Gauthier.
Jamie Gauthier.
Oh,
exactly.
Yep.
Wow.
Right.
She started Mommy Grads at Temple, or she was. I think she brought the program to Temple.
Right.
Gotcha.
And we found out about it, and that program was amazing.
It was
amazing,
and it really became a blueprint for how we started. Because I'm trying to remember, what did we call it at first? Because it wasn't.
No, it was like full-fledged.
Yeah, full-fledged is how we started out.
That was the name of the organization at first, and somebody was like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
And sorority.
And we both kind of got like this, I want to say kind of militant, but we're like full-fledged.
What you saying?
They're like, no, people aren't going to understand what that means.
We was like,
all right, non-traditional student union. Keep it basic. No, but from that point on, we're like, all right, we're going to start this organization, and we did, and they're like, oh, well, you got to get
with that board members,
and jumping through those hoops. So I literally was like, I remember scouting campus when I was walking through, looking for anyone with a stroller.
Yeah, I definitely. I was like, seriously,
because we're like, We don't know.
When we were in Supermoms, we did that. Every time we see somebody with a stroller, we ain't care what they look like, what they
just ran up to them. Are you a student?
Listen,
right? Do you need resources?
We have an organization.
Here's what we do.
Right.
We ain't got a flyer. We ain't got a business card.
No, I give you my email. Give my email. Please email me. Matter of fact, give me yours. Let me email you right now from my phone.
What we got to do though, we got to go to break. Shout out to all the loves who are tuned in on Word TV. Let's see if we can read a few. Hey, Mom. Comments. Akira responded to the question of the day, which is what's a black-owned business that you recommend us supporting? She said the Now Cafe Vegan Soul Food, all the way live raw food. I actually went there before. Pretty decent. And then we have Atiola Spirit, First Foods.
Yes.
And let's see. All right, that's that. And then over on Instagram, Drew Biz, he said he's glad that we stuck with it. Non-traditional students seem to be more focused and do better academically. Schools could do a better job with financial aid. Absolutely. If you offer evening classes, maybe have extended financial aid hours. Right. Yes, that actually makes sense. Right. So shout out to all those folks who are tuned in, tapped in, all of that good stuff. If you have questions, you want to chime in, whatever it may be, call in 215-634-8065, toll free 866-361-0900. Definitely if you are a non-traditional student, or you may know someone who wants to go to college, maybe a parent, or just a non-traditional, if they do go, they would be a non-traditional student, and you have a question, pass it along. We're here. So we're going to go ahead, take this break. You're in the lounge on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM. We'll be right back after these messages.
Reality Check. Reality Check. Hosted by Charles Ellison. Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. Right here on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com.
2019 is the year to go solar in Philadelphia. Do you want to take control of your electric bill? Go solar today. The Philadelphia Energy Authority just reopened Solarize Philly, a citywide program to help all Philadelphians go solar at home. Any homeowner or business owner in Philadelphia can sign up today for a free assessment of your home. Go to solarizephilly.org or call 215-686-4483. This is your last chance to cut the cost of solar by 30%. The federal solar tax credit starts stepping down after this year. The Solarize Philly Group buying program drives down the cost even further for anyone who signs a solar contract through the program by October 31st. The technology is here, and Solarize Philly is making it easy and affordable. By going solar through this program, you are also supporting solar job training for high school students, all while saving money on your monthly electric bill. Go to solarizephilly.org or call 215-686-4483 to get started. Call 215-686-4483 for more details. Again, that's 215-686-4483.
Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation? Follow us on social media using the hashtag onWURD. Be heard. Stay connected to Word Radio. Independent Black Media.
Word Radio and Love Now Media celebrate 11 days of love stories by honoring acts of love that paid it forward. Dr. Walter P. Lomax Jr. was a medical doctor and entrepreneur. His daughter, Sarah Lomax Reese, remembers.
So my dad had many expressions of love in terms of his city, the city of Philadelphia, his South Philadelphia community. I think one of his most public expressions of love is WURD. That was really him giving voice to the community that he loved. But I think the most unknown act of love and paying it forward is the fact that in 1994, he purchased the plantation where his family were enslaved. It's an 18th century plantation in King William County, Virginia, and it was his great-great-grandmother had been enslaved. It's called Aspen Grove, and we actually renamed it Jubilee Farm when we bought it, when he bought it, and my mom bought it. And they proceeded to purchase almost 800 acres around the house, and that was adjoining the plantation. So to me, that is just a beautiful kind of full circle experience and example of showing love for your ancestors, showing love for your family, and showing love for the future, because this is something that is now a part of our family's legacy that that we really cherish and are nourished by.
Love stories, because love fuels the work. Share your love story at wordradio.com or lovenowmedia.com. Love Now, pay it forward.
Word TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at forward. Word TV. Black Talk Media. The Lounge with Sincerely Sarita. Sincerely Sarita. Right now on Word Radio.
That's me. Welcome back. Welcome back to The Lounge. I'm your host, Sincerely Sarita. We are currently having, this is like a roundtable discussion about, the non-traditional student experience in the higher education system. I've been chatting with Kiana Daniels and Kendra Kennedy. They are the co-founders of a new organization. It's titled Non-Tradish. That's TRADISH, Non-Tradish. And we've been chatting, Hania Sharp-Brown and I, back in our TU days. We started Temple Non-Traditional Student Union, and just like having, it almost feels, I want to say like us reliving part of what our experience was, right, and like wanting to pour into you all and do whatever we can, because we were super excited. She actually tagged me in one of your posts and was like, yes, this is amazing, and I'm looking like I'm so glad to see another a non-traditional student anything right now out there. And part of that is because, and you kind of spoke to this earlier about succession, right? And when that's the thing about starting a non-traditional student organization in college, is that you actually got to have folks that can continue it. And I'll be completely transparent in saying, like, for a very long time, and I'm still, tweaking within myself, I felt like we didn't do all of what could have been done because we didn't have we didn't have successors. We didn't have successors who can make sure Temple Non-Traditional Student Union stayed alive. And so when we graduated, it died. And so much of what we did and why we did what we did was always with the thought at the forefront of our mind: we got to think about the people coming up behind us. We got to think about the vets. We got to think about the commuters. We got to think about the student parents. We got to think about all of these non-traditional students who are coming up behind us, because they can't have the same experience that we had. We have to do our part in making sure that we change whatever we can about the system. And so it was very bittersweet, like finally graduating after everything that, just life, but then also knowing, like, by us graduating, this no longer exists.
I definitely struggle with that too. And I remember getting emails and phone calls like after we graduated, like, well, what happened to the organization? And I'm like, it was really nobody there to even pass the baton to. And so in a sense, I definitely felt, I don't know if cheated is the right word, but I definitely felt like, dang, we put so much blood, sweat, and tears.
We were down in DC.
We was in DC advocating on the Hill for more funding.
Testifying at congressional hearings.
And so it definitely was like, all right, it's gonna come back around. It just may not be, while we're here, and then here come non-tradition.
And so that's definitely where we come in at, to kind of bridge that gap between the universities and the non-traditional students, right? And so when we think about succession and we think about offering services that will continue beyond us still being there, right? We want to make sure that non-tradition is around to do that. And so they can call us at any time and say, hey, we have this group of students that need some support, or they need mentorship, or they need workshops, or they need something, and we want to be able to provide that, right? especially to Black and brown women. That is our main focus, and not to kind of single anybody else out, but we need that for our community, right? Especially, I'm thinking about the mothers who don't have anybody necessarily to talk to while they're walking this path, right? I'm thinking about students who are just now coming back in and are too afraid to advocate for themselves because they just don't know that they can, right? If I'm paying $50,000 to be here, you best believe that you're going to get, if I feel a little sick, I'm going to email you and say, hey, listen, what do I have to do to be able to move forward, right? And I think the goal is just to empower folks to know that they can speak up, right? Especially within these systems where we see so many Caucasian people who are just coming in and they're getting the resources and they're benefiting and they're moving forward and they're being successful while we're still struggling and trying and trying and trying. No, we actually need some tangible solutions, and we are that tangible solution.
I mean, I think the other thing that maybe, I don't know, we focused on it when we had Temple Non-Traditional Student Union, as you're talking, thinking about just the awareness that professors need to have, right?
Absolutely.
So I never wanted my professors to think that they had to give me an exception just because I had children, because that's not what I was asking for. I just wanted you, number one, to understand that yes, there's definitely a difference in how you just cater to students who have multiple responsibilities, and not to single out anyone that doesn't have anything else going on, but again, working overnight, going to school during the day, or you know, working 2 jobs full time. I never wanted.
We had that. We talked about. I remember at our meetings, we would talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm like,
we did.
Like, just making sure that the professors have something and be clear. Like, this is not a circumstance. I'm not asking for an exception. You have to treat me like completely different, but also understand that there are unique needs, and that's just the bottom line.
I was just getting ready to say, I begged a little bit different, because you treat other folks differently. When Susie can't come to class, her mom calls you or emails you and say, hey, Susie is not in today. Can we make sure that she gets the work that she needs?
I would say, like,
come on now,
like, self-advocacy was the most important thing for me at college, at Temple. And from the day I stepped foot on campus, I was like, all right, I need you, my professor, let me talk to you real quick. This is what's going on. I came in like, I need allies.
Absolutely.
I need all y'all on the same page. And I remember having those conversations with professors, or, you know, sending that email, and they're like, hey, go ahead, bring the baby to class. And I'm coming in with, you know, my stroller, and they're, you know, everybody's like, oh, well, if you need me to hold her, I'll hold her. She's self-sufficient. She's chilling. And we're going to take this test. We're good. But not only that, I also remember an instance where a professor accused me of plagiarism and said that, and I really had to like fight for this, said that it was not possible for me to write that kind of quality paper because of my circumstances.
I remember that. I remember when you wrote about that.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what, sis? Every word in that is mine. What do you mean? And her sentiment was just like, just not possible for you to do that. And I really had to fight to make sure that I didn't, number one, wasn't kicked out of school, but number two, you know, that my integrity was protected. So even the level of self-advocacy that you have to have, not only so that you can succeed, but so that you can put other people's perceptions of you in place is so important. So important. But we got to get ready to go to break. Actually wrap this up, not even go to break. So I want to make sure, non-tradish, we're going to give you the next minute or so to really like lay out for folks what non-tradish is, what you all are here to do, the vision for it, and, you know, what do you need from folks?
So pretty much our organization is geared towards supporting, empowering, and engaging Black and brown women as they pursue their educational journey, right? And so when we think about the different issues that we have in our community, we feel like we don't want education to be one of them, right? And so we kind of want to break down some of those barriers. We want to provide mentorship services. We definitely want to be a buffer with the university and the non-traditional students, so we're trying to provide consultancy work there. And we definitely want to do the 3 book scholarships, like I said before, of $250 for a non-traditional student who is a woman of color. I feel like one of the barriers for myself, and she can even speak to this, after I got the tuition paid, the books were always an issue. The books were always a problem. The library never had them. Now they want new editions because of one paragraph has changed. So it's so many different issues with it, and I don't want that to be the defining thing that makes a person say, you know what, I'm not going to do this, or I can't do this. So you can. You want to?
No, I just feel the same. I think that it is for anyone who is a non-traditional student of any age, black or brown. And I just really, really, really hope this inspires someone to just believe in themselves and to want to empower or motivate other people as well. That's our age, and I feel like the young generation that's coming up, they need it. We all need it. I need it. I'm still in school. And I feel really at my best when I have my sister motivating me, when I have other people motivating me, so I know what that feels like. I feel like if anyone needs a mentor, this is the place for you. And I really just hope that they understand it, and I really hope that this can help the community in itself. And just, I just really want to express that, the community specifically, because I feel like we need it. We really do need it. Like, it's so much that we go through besides school. So even if you're going through anything, you never know what someone, you know, degree or major is or what they know. So just come and just talk to us, because I feel like we all know so much about life in itself, and I feel like we can help each other and just grow, you know?
So where can folks find you at so that they can come to you?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook. We have a private Facebook group that is only for non-traditional students and or folks who were non-traditional students that want to be mentors to other folks. So right now we got like 68 people in the group, but the conversations that's taking place in that group is amazing. We have one woman, 55 years old, just went to law school the other day. Her first day of law. Like, if that don't put some fire up under somebody to go back. She went to law school. Is in law school. Like, that's amazing. So we're on Facebook, Non-Tradish. You can like our page, Non-Tradish19, Instagram, Non-Tradish. You can follow me, Yan VSW.
Non_tradish.
Non_tradish.
There's another non-tradish out. I was like, you're not them.
But if you hashtag us, if you hashtag us, you will see us. Look forward to doing some work in the community. We're gonna have some workshops coming up soon. Looking forward to collaborating with the Queen sitting right here. So making sure that y'all follow us. And yeah, we gonna be doing stuff.
You want to do your shameless plug?
You can definitely follow me on Twitter, onpoint24_7. Same on Instagram, onpoint communications on Instagram, and onpointcom, COMMS on Instagram as well.
Real quick. Shameless plug. Here we go. Black businesses.
Oh, black businesses?
You ready?
Real quick.
Beat by Amari, Delicious Delights by AD, TNT Towing, Makeup by Gurpu, Sea-Belly Events, Halal Heartbeats, The Event Parlor, and Janice Ruiz Ministries. Ow.
Oh, she came with the list. All right, y'all. You're in the lounge on WURD Radio. We're going to take this break. I will see you right back on the other side.
Get your money straight.
Get my money right.
It's Solomon